Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dungeon of Deadly Delights. Cheers to everybody. I'm, of course, Rob DiLauro, and this is my wife, Melody.
Hello.
We are not headed to a premiere. We're actually just decked out for this episode, which is in honor of Mia Goth. It says Maxine Week. We were really excited for the what seems to be the finality of the X trilogy.
Excited.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is Maxine Week, so let's get into that. Melody, I mean, what do you think about Mia Goth? Do you honestly think she is the quintessential scream queen of the modern era?
Totally. She's massive. She's awesome. She's absolutely fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Love her.
I know there's a lot of contenders out there. You know, Jenna Ortega is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Micah Monroe is another one. But there's something about Mia Goth that's just unique and different, and really just speaks to a skill set that, all these other ladies are extremely talented, don't get me wrong, but she just has this Oscar-winning performance, thing in her that shines in everything that she does.
And she can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
She can do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we get into the episode, when it comes to the movies that we picked in honor of Mia, Mia is actually half Canadian, half Brazilian. She lived in Brazil through childhood. She was actually discovered through a modeling agency. So she was a model before she was in film. And she started auditioning, I believe, when she was about 16 years old. She received one of her first big parts, which was Lars von Trier's Nymphomaniac. And then, of course, she went on to other things after that. I think she did a couple short films. There was a movie called Everest that she did, which didn't fare very well at the box office, but I guess it was like, one of those climb a mountain challenging, movies or whatever.
Oh, gotcha.
But really her wheelhouse is 100% horror. You know what I mean?
She's so good at it.
She did mention in the premiere of Maxine, that she wanted to step away from horror for a while. She actually wanted to do more romance and stuff like that.
Wow.
That's just a thing that happens.
Boo to romance.
Yeah.
Boo.
Boo to romance.
Boo. More horror, Mia. More horror.
I know we are a horror couple, but boo to romance.
Yeah. It's just romantic enough that you grace the silver screen with your naked body.
Mm-hmm.
That's romantic.
Yeah. Our first Deadly Delight when it comes to the career of Mia Goth is a film that was directed by Gordon Verbinski. Came out, actually, I thought this movie was like 20 years old, but it turns out it was only a few years old. Actually, like 10 or something like that. I do remember when it came out. Mia, of course, was not the standout in this movie. It was actually the lead actor. But we want to talk about A Cure for Wellness, which I don't know. I think it really got a bad rap when it came out because people just thought it was just, pun intended, this psychological horror that was in a mental ward or something like that. They didn't understand that it's so much more fantastical than that. What I mean?
Yeah.
It's not One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. You know what I mean?
Have this guy who works for this, I guess, a finance company out of New York or something like that, and he got caught stealing money. And he got in trouble, and the company is like, all right, we need you to send you off to this country to go get our CEO back because we're having issues and we need him to sign off.
Yeah.
Well, the CEO is like, I'm not coming back, blah, blah, blah. I'm staying here. So they send this gentleman, trot him off to Germany. And he goes up into this, I think it's up in the mountains or something like that. And it's a psych ward. And all these super rich people are there, and they're trying to get cured of their sickness, which is, I guess, being a human. Being he was selfish and greedy.
Right. Well, I think he was originally, his job was to go to Germany.
And to bring him back.
Retrieve this, financier gentleman from a spa. And it wasn't actually a psychiatric ward or anything like that. It wasn't supposed to be that. It was just him just chilling out, relaxing.
But it was a psychiatric ward, and all the treatments they did had to do with water that was from that area because there was like healing properties to this water. And so this guy is like not wanting to leave. And everybody's always saying, no one ever leaves. No one ever leaves. Everybody always stays. Well, come to find out, nobody ever does leave for a reason. There was parasites inside the water itself that were dehydrating the humans so they could create this serum out of the humans so these freaking people could live forever. Pretty much. Yeah, that was nuts. So anyways, he's trying to leave. He figured he'd just go get a hotel room and he'd come back the next day to pick up his CEO. And he sees this beautiful, mysterious young woman. And he's like, oh, car accident. He's stuck. He wakes up, he's got a cast on, he can't move.
Right.
So, you know, he's trying to figure out what was going on. Well, Mia Goth's role plays this young woman who has been pretty much sheltered her whole life from the outside world, and the main, I guess, doctor of this spa is like, this is like, she's like a daughter to me. You know, leave her, don't mess with her. Well,
she's very mysterious.
Well, yes. Well, you know, a bunch of stuff happens, blah blah blah. But then the main guy, he wants to like leave. He needs to get to a phone so he can contact his office in New York. And Mia Goth's character, she actually has a bicycle. So they take a bike down into the main village, and you know, she's drinking beer for the first time ever. She's dancing. She's having a good time. He's like finding out some interesting stuff about what's going on up in the mountains. Because she had left, she started her period. She blossomed into womanhood. Then the whole story twists. And you find out that the man who's...
Spoiler alert, here we go.
Spoiler alert.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
You find out that the man who's running this place is actually the Baron from like 200 years ago. And the serum that he's been taking it's what's prolonging his lifespan. And he had a daughter with his sister, who he married against her will.
They ended up burning down the castle like in Frankenstein's monster fashion.
Yep.
And I guess the townsfolk ended up cutting the baby out of the mother and throwing it in the aquifer, which is like a major plot point for this movie.
Yeah, and she survives. Well, Daddy Dearest, being a sick old pervert in, you know, German fashion, I guess.
A Targaryen of some sort.
I guess. Decides that he's going to marry his daughter and he's going to have children with her.
What was it that you thought stood out in terms of Mia's performance in A Cure for Wellness?
You could see the fact that she played innocent really well. Like, not like, ha ha ha, innocent, but more like childlike innocence. And you see her go from young girl mentality to that of a woman. And her eyes being opened and realizing, wow, this is my dad, and he's trying to force me to marry him, and he's trying to do these things to me, and I need to be free.
Yeah, I mean, she's not that old anyway, but like the other thing that really
no, she is old. That's just it. She's probably around 200 years old herself.
No, I'm talking about Mia Goth, like you know, as a person. But the other thing that really stands out, especially with The Cure for Wellness, is that like she feels very young. You know what I mean? She's like it's very effective in terms of just her look, her demeanor, that sickly kind of, you know, like kind of pale, you know, thing that she has. Her next deadly delight when it comes to the career of Mia Goth is another film that, you know, like is like I consider this one a folk horror too, a little bit, and
ghost story.
Well, you just threw the baby out with the bathwater, but
no, because the whole issue with the dad, like, you know,
but anyway, we're going to be talking about Marrowbone, which is another Mia Goth vehicle with a lot of huge names in it. Like Anya Taylor-Joy is another one, which, by the way, I know this isn't horror, but I'm, you know what, so excited that Furiosa is a big hit on demand. I knew that was going to happen. So Thank you for that. That movie should not be a failure. But anyway, Anya Taylor-Joy's in it. There's a ton of really good people in it. But as you said, it is a gothic, ghost story for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what'd you think about Marrowbone?
I absolutely loved this movie 100%. You know what I mean? Like, it was very... what's the words I'm looking for, man? I can't even just put in words how much I love this movie. I mean, you have this family, this mother and her kids that are running away from England to get away from her serial killer husband. Who's in prison, and they're trying to escape. And apparently she took the money that he stole in a bank robbery. They leave England, they go to America. She goes back to her home house, and they have a whole summer to enjoy, and then she gets sick and dies. And she tells her oldest son, hey, listen, you have to hide the kids until you're 21 because they'll take the kids away from you.
You have to keep the family together.
And he does. He does keep the family together, but there's twists in this story that's really sad.
There's definitely twists in the story, and they're all really terrible. But I don't know. It's not an upbeat movie for sure. It does sort of play out. I mean, like, aside from the fact that it is a ghost story, it sort of feels like an old Grimm's fairy tale or something.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean,
the younger kids can never really leave the house, but the older brother can.
The family resides in Maine after they left England, but until you actually get to the town, it doesn't really feel. First of all,
because they're out in the country, they're out in the boonies, because this is what's supposed to be in the 60s. Yeah. Because, they play the Beach Boys. They have a record player.
There's a banker who's actually...
needs them to sign off on... He needs the mom to sign off on paperwork, but the mom's dead.
Well, Sam, the main son, he's in a relationship with Anya Taylor-Joy. He's a librarian. And then I think it's the main banker of the town has, a little thing for her. There's a situation with him where not only is he trying to get back at, this kid... who's in, with the... Well, because
he wants to, he's offered a job of partnership, but he has to pay $5,000, which in the 60s is a lot of money. So, he realizes, oh, wait, they have money hidden. I'm going to get it from them. I'm going to make them, I know you have that 10,000 pounds that your father stole.
You want to talk about the spoiler for this movie?
So, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you guys have seen The Elders, then you'll know where we're going with this. So go ahead, Bill.
So the father busted out of prison. And this was shortly after the mom had died. The father had busted out of prison and came back to the United States and found his kids. And the older brother is trying to bring this guy away. He gets the younger kids to hide up in the attic, and there's an altercation with him and the father, and he gets knocked out. And when he comes to, he finds out he didn't get there in time, and his siblings are all dead. So, and they're still in the attic.
Yeah.
That's why there was a seeping spot in the ceiling that was molding. It's because it was their bodies. Yeah. And the father is still alive.
Yeah.
He's still, he didn't die of starvation when he bricked him up in the walls.
He was feeding off of rodents and rainwater? Yeah.
So he didn't save the siblings. The siblings, he actually, when he sees them, it's his personality is splitting off.
Yeah.
And he has to stay in the house to be able to keep them.
There's also another plot point that was really important. It was they kept saying there was a ghost in the house, and it came back when he covered all the mirrors. And it turns out he was actually doing the mirror thing because he realized that he didn't want to be, he didn't want to see himself alone.
Was it that, or he didn't want? Yeah.
When you see the siblings and you don't know the main part of the plot, it's like we're trying to hide the mirrors, so a ghost doesn't get out.
Right.
And it turns out he was actually doing it himself because the siblings were around and he didn't want to see himself alone.
Yeah.
Which is really just a sad thing.
Yeah.
Our next Deadly Delight when it comes to the career of Mia Goth is a film that we both love. We've mentioned on the show before. We actually just wanted to pull it up simply because we never really got to talk about the performance of Mia in this movie, and this is a Mia Goth celebration episode. We wanted to talk a bit about Suspiria. So, I mean, again, see, even though we talked about it before, Mel, I mean, you love this movie, so do I.
You know, and every time I watch it, I catch different things. Every time I watch it, I catch different things. And Mia Goth, she did such a good job in this movie. She ends up playing side by side next to the lead role, actually. Dakota Johnson. And she's one of the dancers there whose friends end up disappearing.
Well, even though we talked about the film before, let's talk about the plot for a second. So basically, if you guys don't know, it is a remake of Suspiria. It was directed by Luca Guadagnino, who just came out with another hit, Challengers, with Zendaya, which is about tennis. It's a totally different thing. But so it does star Mia Goth. It stars Dakota Johnson. Dakota comes from the States. There's a dance company in Berlin. Yes. She's
Amish.
And Mia Goth is her roommate, correct?
Yes. Well, as she comes in, she finds out that one of the girls had actually gone off the deep end and disappeared, and they're trying to say that she was part of this German sect of people that were terrorists. Come to find out, she's hidden in the basement. Okay, like they're holding on to her. Don't know why, but they're holding on to her. But then another girl has to step up into the main role, and she's like, pretty much like, "Fuck you, I'm out of here." Well,
all these girls have supernatural abilities, and I don't think maybe Dakota did know at the end, but I mean, it's not clear. But like, whenever they do their dance moves, which are very, they're casting spells. They're basically preparing this Dakota Johnson's character to be emptied out, and so the other mother can come in. Well, they make Mia Goth a competition for the main dance.
No, Mia Goth was always supposed to be she's the second part. She was she was just her friend. She literally was just her friend.
Oh, okay.
But as Mia Goth's character began to realize that she was seeing things that was happening to this girl that had happened to her friend that disappeared, and she starts to freak out.
She's really the true detective of the movie. She actually sees stuff.
She actually finds her friend, and she's trying to find the paperwork and everything. Like, okay, where is she at? Where'd she go? What is she doing? She's really concerned about finding her friend. Like, where did she go? Because she was not a terrorist. She's adamant. Like, no, she's not a terrorist.
I don't want to trail away from Mia because it is a Mia Goth episode. But what was the standout thing for you as in terms of her acting in this movie?
So that scene where she was dancing and she fell and broke her leg? You could feel her pain. Like, watching her, you could feel it. Like, that would be like a real reaction. I thought that was absolutely. And then she's looking at the doctor, and she's like, you can tell she's trying to tell him, like, to get away, run away.
Well, I just love her dancing in it too, and I know, like,
she's like,
she's got some contacts that like are glazing over her eyes or whatever. But like when she's in that trance, like it does feel like she's, just kind of, like moving with the groove of the spell. You know what I mean? Like, it's not in her control. Yeah,
she's so good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Our next Deadly Delight is a film that Mia starred in a couple years ago. Directed by David Cronenberg's son Brandon, who I think is, he gets compared to his father a lot. But to be quite honest with you, I think he's definitely an animal of his own.
Yeah. He's an animal.
Yeah. Where his father's more into body horror, I think he's more into like the psyche, the human psyche.
There was some body horror in this also.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, there are. Things, that his father, like in terms of what his father's abilities and stuff, or the stories that he liked to tell, like leak through. But I think it definitely has more to do with like a mind fuck than anything else.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But we wanted to talk about Infinity Pool, which is, I mean, we're going to talk about Mia's performance.
Mia
but this is
plays a total nut in this movie. She is a psychopath. She is manipulative. She is straight up freaking evil.
Her job is to chew up the fucking scenery, and she chews the fucking set.
Chews it up. And she is a sexy vixen in this movie. Totally a sexy vixen in this movie.
This is also just star Alexander Skarsgård in a role that I'm really kind of shocked he took. I mean, like, this dude.
Dude, right? They made him look like shit throughout the movie too. Like, he goes from being a handsome-looking devil to like, you are looking rough there, buddy.
Well, he's just a real piece of shit across the board in this movie.
Yeah, totally.
He's not a famed writer. He only wrote one book. He was coasting off his wife's fucking money the entire time.
Well, and the fact that it was her father's publishing company that published his book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he's a piece of shit from the gate, honestly. I don't ever really feel bad for this guy, to be clear.
No, because he hid his passport so he could lie to his wife and stay, so he can keep committing crimes and having his like. So
he and his wife go to a resort, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, it's a fictitious island, and they him and his wife end up meeting up with these like socialites, right? Mm-hmm. And
on the resort, yeah.
Yeah. One of them happens to be Mia Goth and her husband. Mm-hmm. And while he is hanging out with them one day, he goes to a tree to take a piss, and she gives him a hand job.
Oh my god! Okay.
They're hanging out with these socialites, and they get into an accident. They end up killing one of the locals.
Yeah, he ends up. They're driving late at night and coming back from this beach spot, and the lights on the car that they rented from one of the people. Mm-hmm. That it's not working, and he accidentally hits and kills a farmer.
Yeah. Yes. So there's a law of the land where, number one, you can have the firstborn son kill you, or they can scientifically create a clone of you, and you can watch your clone die.
And you have to watch your clone die.
So of course the rich people go, I'm gonna fucking make this clone of myself. And, like, whatever, devil may care. I don't give a fuck what happens to this thing. Mm-hmm. But then it turns out that these socialites actually stay on the island because they love to see themselves repeatedly doing crimes, repeatedly cloning themselves, and seeing themselves getting brutally murdered. Yeah.
Like, they get off on it.
They totally get off on it.
They're like, they do this herbal drug that's local. Illegal and local, and they just go do a bunch of wild, crazy shit. And
robberies, murders, all kinds of shit.
And Mia Goth's character, she's just egging him on, getting him to do all kinds of fucked up shit.
Right. Basically what happens is he's trying to get off the island, and then that's when Mia Goth really shows her like true crazy colors.
Yeah, oh my god.
And tells him like, you're a fucking loser, I never read your book.
Right?
you're weak, and you're not a man.
You're pathetic. But then at the very end, they're all getting like going to the airport to get on the plane, and they're just going about in their normal lives, like what they're going to be doing. Oh, they're on the bus talking about what they're going to be doing when they get back to LA, blah blah blah, whatever, right? Like none of that happened. So he ends up staying. He goes back to the resort, and no one's there. It's rainy season. He's just there.
They told Mia, like, fuck the script and just go off. And that's what she does.
Dude, she went off. She played crazy. But once again, like a super sexy vixen. Like,
but not only is she scary and terrifying, and, like, you don't want to fuck with this girl, and she's absolutely, like, out of her head. She's fucking annoying. She's irritating. You know what I mean? Like, they told her to just fucking go crazy.
And she did.
Exactly what she did. Like, okay, Mia. Okay, here's the script. Just go, and that's your motivation.
Right? Do it. Just do it.
I do want to mention that during the premiere of Infinity Pool, she was walking around with these big leather kinky boots. and Alexander Skarsgård came out on all fours with a leash. So
oh, there you have it.
They really they went all ham on that, all hog on that one, for sure. We are going to get into X, which of course is the movie that we watched for the Blood and Butter premiere episode.
This movie, and I'm telling you, once I watched this movie again, I got more correlations. Like, especially after having already seen Pearl. Watch Pearl first, then watch X.
That would be my recommendation.
Watch Pearl first, and then watch X, because X is a trip. X is a trip.
I mean, look, it's like Star Wars, started with episode, 4, 5, and 6, right?
Right.
So maybe it's kind of like that, like you're supposed to watch X and then get the parallels from Pearl. It really depends on your preference, honestly. But like Pearl will definitely like.
All right, we gotta talk about Pearl first and then X.
You want to talk about Pearl first?
Pearl first, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about Pearl first.
All right, we're gonna talk about Pearl first. Okay, so. If you guys don't know, this is the X trilogy, directed by Ty West. Melody and I have always been huge fans. Love House of the Devil. There's a lot of great stuff that he's done. I think he's one of the best modern horror filmmakers out there. And X really, put the mark on the idea that he is absolutely 100% a maestro of the genre and can do anything.
Yeah.
Like a Mike Flanagan or, somebody of that ilk.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Pearl was actually, it was directed in secret during the pandemic. So when people went to go see X, they got the trailer for Pearl immediately after the movie.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Because during the pandemic, as we mentioned before in the Blood and Butter episode, they actually filmed in New Zealand or Australia. I can't remember which one. It was during the pandemic, and that's why they were filming there, because you couldn't film in the States. They found a place that looks, indicative of the farmhouse, setting that they needed, in Texas. And they were just like, you know what? Since we're here and we're locked in,
let's fucking do it.
Let's make another fucking movie.
Pearl. Oh my god. So I'm gonna let you go on this one because this is your baby.
Well, I mean, look. The reason why I love this movie so much is because it separates itself from everything that you've ever seen in horror. It is, it feels like. This kind of Technicolor Wizard of Oz on this dark trip. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. That's absolutely nuts. Just the sweeping Hollywood score, the fact it's in the in the mid 1900s. Just it's so beautifully done. She wants to be a star.
She wants to be a dancer on the silver screen.
Yeah, she wants to be a star. She wants to be in the
and she's good. She's really good, but she's not blonde.
Right. So her mother, basically tells her that you have to stay on the farm. You have to basically follow my rules. I think Pearl's supposed to be 16 in this movie.
Oh, and she's married. And her husband's off at the war.
Right.
She's married.
She's married to Howard, which comes into play in X. Howard is in World War I at this point.
Yep.
So her life is pretty much locked down. And, I think the thing I love about this movie the most is that even though she's 100%, she has a killer instinct.
Oh, dude, totally, yeah.
You feel awful for her because she didn't get to make any decisions on her own. Nothing.
So she becomes a psychopathic killer.
I think she always was.
Yeah, and she's horny.
Right.
Super horny all the time.
So her sister-in-law's a blonde, and she's really sweet, and really, appreciates Pearl and respects Pearl. And then they happen to do this dance contest where she ends up.
Oh, it's an audition. Let's talk about that last scene where she has all the dead bodies of her family lined up at the table, and she goes into a 10-minute speech.
It was a 6-minute monologue with her sister-in-law, and she basically the sister-in-law tells her, well, you got some things on your mind, Pearl. Why don't you pretend I'm Howard, and you can tell me. And she's just basically I hate you for leaving me here. And, we had a baby, and thank God, something happened to it. That might be the thing her mother was talking about. You know what I mean? I've seen you do horrible things.
She might have killed her baby.
She might have killed her baby. Because she said she wasn't cut out for motherhood. She hated the feeling of that thing growing inside of her. Right? So she's just going off for 6 minutes about, having sex with this projectionist, and I should have done it, and, I'm going to be loyal, I'm going to change, for you, and, this and that. And then the sister-in-law's just okay, I think I should go. And then she goes, congratulations. And she's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she has to pride out over that she actually got the competition. That's the thing. You don't even know if she did. You know what I mean? She says she did. Maybe just to get out of the conversation.
Right.
But she didn't know she was going to run at her with an axe.
Right.
You know?
And then at the end, Pearl realizes what she did. Sits everybody at the table, and Howard walks through the door. And she's just...
Yeah. Like, literally for 5 minutes, Mia Goth has this smile, and she's breaking because, like, the camera never leaves her. So there's water, like, you know, coming out of her eyes and stuff. You can tell her face is stinging, you know, because she's still got this, like, Joker smile on her face. And you just see all these different emotions happen, like, at a clip for, like, 3 minutes. Just like that. Just like that. So if she held that for 3 minutes, imagine...
Dude, my face hurts already.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
my God. I can't. Mia, good job.
One
that was
thing
stellar.
I will say about this movie that's probably the most important out of anything is that, you know, like, it's been mentioned before. And, you know, like, a lot of people are really rooting for it. And yes, she has won some Saturn awards. She's won some, like, Choice Awards, Critics' Choice Awards, you know, that kind of shit. But she should definitely have been nominated for the Academy Award.
Oh, totally. Like, come on.
The only reason that...
It's horror genre. That's why.
Absolutely
it's bullshit.
Absolutely disgusting. We're actually going to end this episode with X, which you can soon get on our Patreon page, which I'm working on right now. There'll be more details on that when we actually, like, have them together. But the actual watch-alongs that we do are going to be uncensored, and, you know, basically we just want you to get the experience that you really want with the jokes. You want to see the boobies, you want to see the blood, you want to see the guts, you know what I mean?
You want to see the sex.
YouTube isn't allowing that. So
No, they're not. They're not. And listen, you guys, we're only going to charge $5. That's it. $5 a month. $5 a month.
So with that, let's start with our conversation on X. Melody, I fucking love this movie.
I love this movie so much.
I love this. I love this series. I haven't seen Maxine yet, but you know how much I adore this movie.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
I mean,
hardcore.
We have a kitten named Pearl, for God's
exactly.
sake. Yeah. So to celebrate Mia Goth's career is definitely fitting for us. So, what did you think of X? You said when you first saw it, it was kind of like, what the fuck did I just watch?
At first when I saw it, I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? But every time I watch it again and again, I start to see more correlations between Pearl and X, and, like, you know, what's going on between Maxine and Pearl, and, like, even with Howard, I start to see more, and it really feels like you're on a trip, like, you know, and you've seen the different flashes that are going throughout the movie with the preacher, who you find out is actually her father, Maxine's father. Why does Maxine look like Pearl? This whole, like, the whole scene where Maxine, you know, she's wearing her overalls. Doesn't have a shirt on underneath it. I don't think she has pasties on. She goes to get a swim, and, you know, she almost gets eaten by Theta, the alligator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or Theta was like, "Oh, that's Pearl," or we didn't know, like, maybe, like, she kind of recognized her, you know.
I think originally the reason why Ty West did the release the way he did was, well, probably because actually Pearl was finished, if I'm not mistaken, because the trailer for Pearl came out when people saw X.
Okay.
That was secretly filmed, and people were, like, freaking out, like, oh my god, there's in the sequel already.
Well, yeah, just so they could see what Pearl was like when she was young.
Right. But when you watch X for the first time, you're just seeing two, you know, geriatrics. You know what I mean? And I guess, you know, because they have loose skin and stuff, it's supposed to be gross or whatever. I think watching Pearl changes that dynamic a lot. Especially for, you know, somebody like us, because we're married, and, like, even though it is really fucked up, like, you can definitely see their devotion.
Well, yeah, and you have to realize too, we don't stay young forever. We don't. We get older, and finding that one person that you truly connect with, that will actually, like, he is so smitten.
That's the
Pearl.
main through line of X's, like, youth.
Howard is so smitten with Pearl, like, throughout the entire time. Like, he will do anything anything to keep her happy. With Mia Goth actually playing Pearl and as an older version of Pearl, that makeup, amazing. Listen, Sarah Rubano, 2 thumbs up. You do a fantastic aging makeup. That is not an easy feat to do, and that's coming from a makeup artist myself. Like, I'm telling you that aging makeup, that is a skill that is difficult to master.
The thing about this movie is, like, you know, like when it comes to the actual the style of it, the dynamic of it, I mean, it's supposed to mirror Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Kind of grindhousey.
Hell, the thing is called, you know, like the other name for it is the Texas Pornstar Massacre. So, you know, so there's so many different parallels, you know, just like from the drive, you know, like with the people in the car, you know, to in the van or whatever, to the farmhouse, to there's so many different parallels to, you know, to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's so much, it's, you know, like its own animal or whatever, you know what I mean? And, you know, like when Maxine Minx is like outside, she smokes her cigarette, she, you know, finds the lake or whatever. It almost feels like kind of, you know, like, dare I say, like ethereal or something. Like she's, you know, becoming one with nature, she's becoming one with the surroundings and stuff. You know what I mean? She just, you know, she just doesn't want to, like,
well, she's got that X factor.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's more than just a porn star. You know, she's a fucking star.
Right.
Yeah.
She was able to play a dual role where she plays like this kind of, you know, she's this precocious, like,
in the same movie, you know,
starved, you know, naive young girl. She's supposed to be like, what, 18, 19 or something like that?
19.
And then 19. You go and play the killer, sex-starved older lady. It's just like, it's amazing that she was able to do both so, you know,
cohesively.
So well.
She did a very, very, very good job.
This is, you know, obviously this is the movie that, like, really, like, you know, just launched Mia Goth's career when it comes to, like, horror. And you know what, I did actually forget something. She wants to do romantic comedies and stuff like that, but actually she does have Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein coming out.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, Mia Goth is, she's absolutely stunning. She is stunning as a woman, as an actress. She can play young, she can play old, she can play anything. Anything. She's really versatile in her acting.
Here's to Mia. Here's to this is Maxine Week. It's coming out now. I see people on social media are actually going to see it as we speak, so that's really exciting. You know, I mean, you know, it is. You know, we don't pay attention to, you know, Rotten Tomatoes scores here. We don't really give a shit, and certainly, you know, when it comes to this movie, but. You know, I mean, there's some people that came out that were disappointed. That's going to happen.
I mean, not everybody is going to like what we like.
You know what?
And that's fine.
I can give a fuck what people say about this movie. I'm so fucking excited.
I know, right?
Don't care.
Right?
Don't care.
Anyways, we got to cheers to Mia Goth.
Here is to Mia Goth.
And we need that clink. Here to the clink.
Oh,
clink it.
Here's to all of you. Thank you so much for your continued love and support when it comes to the show. You know, we're just getting started here. Like I said, we're working on the Patreon. We will have a movie review, a trailer review for Trap, starring Josh Hartnett, which he's really excited about because
I'm so excited about that because Josh Hartnett,
that's her pass.
That's my pass.
That's her pass. So she's really excited for that. So check that out, and then join us for our next episode, where in celebration of Oz Perkins' Long Legs, we're going to do our serial killer episode. So
I'm so excited about that. You know, I love serial killer movies.
All right, guys, thank you very much. We'll scare you later.
Is it scary being an FBI agent?
The letter was left with the bodies. We have 10 letters like it over the past 30 years. And all of them signed with one word. Long legs.
He'll kill. And kill again.
Oh, there she is. You could have been nice with me. But you didn't.
Put the gun down!